Welcome back to Vision 20 and 20, take two in the dozenth arrondissement, the 12th arrondissement of Paris. Probably one of the more overlooked ones. We've been saying that about all the outer arrondissements, but this is our last outer arrondissement. It is long, skinny, dominated mostly by train tracks. But there are some reasons that you might want to come here, like this delightful archway situation going on behind me with a greenery on top that might just be a park. We're gonna get to that for sure. It's one of my favorites. It's a great place to go for a run or a stroll, and it's really well worth a visit. Along with a couple of restaurants, I've got some bars in my guide, some really interesting stuff. Of course, we're not gonna go out to that castle or park today because it is a long ways away, and today I'm gonna show you 5 of my favorite things in the 12th arrondissement, because believe it or not, I do have things that I love here. There's a lot more to discover here. Some of my favorites have closed down, but we're adding more to it as we go, and today I'm gonna show you some real favorites. Speaking of closures, I was gonna take you to a drink here, dinner, in a train station. We'll talk more about that in a second. Dinner in a train station, you're saying? Oh yeah, it's a thing. The Kursaal has been on my list for a while now, but it's a long ways away. It's out here on line 6. You can actually get here very easily if you're taking line 6 from the 13th, if you watched the 13th video and saw all the delightful street art. Just keep going across the river and get out at Picpus. And if you get out at Picpus, you'll find yourself in the 12th and a short walk away from the Kursaal, where there's going to be a delicious set of pastries for you, including some Chinese-inspired like puffed rice pastries that were really nice, very dense and kind of chewy, but also like fluffy and not too sweet. The cookie, very American style, as I'll let Lucy explain. Ooh.
The texture is completely different. I can't explain exactly what's happening, and the cookies that I usually get here, I feel like they're like soft.
Yeah.
They're like, and it's kind of one texture throughout, and the cookie that I like is like crispy on the outside and like just like soft and gooey in the middle.
The coffee was tasty. The whole place is good. This has got a very restaurant vibe as well. So if you want to come here for coffee, let's say you happen to be staying in the neighborhood, or you just want to grab a coffee and a pastry, it's going to be great. But then they're also making something new all the time from fresh ingredients. There's a really delicious rice bowl that's going to be a very curry-esque experience. And then everything else is just always changing. So depending on what's fresh, what's in season, and what they have, they're being very creative back there, experimenting with a lot of new stuff. You might have noticed that everything that we're going to be recommending in the 12th happens to be very close to the 11th. And that is largely because the 11th is where it's happening, but also partially because train lines run all the way through the 12th, kind of destroying a huge portion of it and leading out of the city. Some streets do the same as it borders with the river, and so yeah, it can be a little bit of chaos. So if you do find yourself in the 12th, stay to the north section-ish, and then you can just spread out along that and see what kind of interesting stuff you find. We're not too far from Nation as well, so if you find yourself at that really big roundabout, hanging out in the park, they've really redone it to look very nice. Then you're just around the corner, like literally, very easy to get to. One of my favorite places to run in the entire city is on the Coulée Verte, right behind me. This is the entrance. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it, because there are a lot of different stairways up as you go, but this is the most obvious, and it's at the very beginning, and it'll run you all the way out to Vincennes. Let's get up there. The Coulée Verte, or Promenade Plantée, you know, like the planted boardwalk, was originally opened in the 80s and then redesigned and turned into this park in '94, which made it the first of its kind. And there are a lot of New Yorkers that'll probably be a little bit upset to find out that this actually inspired the High Line. But that's okay, we all have to be inspired by something, right? And it's really nice. It runs all the way from the Opera, just behind Bastille, out to Vincennes, and continues out there with a whole variety of running routes that can be a little bit confusing. So often, if you're new here, just run out as far as you feel comfortable and then run back. However, if you want to get on the actual like Petite Ceinture, the rail line that encircled Paris, you can do that, and it can be a lot of fun. There's a lot of creative routes you can make out here, so make them your own. Of course, this is our last chance to talk about the Petite Ceinture before we narrow in, because this is our last outer arrondissement in Paris. This arrondissement, the 12th, does stretch out into Vincennes. Paris is known for annexing big parks outside of itself. So here we are. While this train line might be entirely a park, the Petite Ceinture is also still partially privatized, which means that they still use it to move trains and equipment around for the train systems, the train networks. So do be careful jumping down on those train tracks if they are marked as dangerous and off limits for a reason. And of course, just another reminder, if you're gonna try and find the infamous catacombs under the city, not the ones you can go buy tickets to, definitely don't do that without help. Don't do that on your own. It is dangerous. It is actually dangerous. But while these train lines from the 19th century may no longer be in use as forms of you know, public transportation, you can still transport yourself with a good run through the city. I do have more running routes in my guide, the new version. We had a whole running guide that we kind of took offline and is gonna get reborn again here soon in the online version of my guide. So if you are a runner, if you'd like to exercise in Paris, I'm gonna have more and more tips for you on how to do that safely and have fun, and maybe in a couple more risky ways as you go, of course. Always gotta take some risks, but maybe not while you're on vacation, or maybe that's the perfect time to do it. Depending on who you are, we'll have you covered. Anyways, I'm gonna get back. I'm actually gonna run. I'm gonna go for a long run now. Oof. The cool thing is that even if you aren't a runner, you can still walk up here, obviously, and below, after your walk, there are a whole bunch of really interesting shops, a couple of restaurants, one that's in my guide. It's just kind of a more fun vibe than anything else. But if you want to walk along, check out what's in the windows, maybe step in, see people at work, craftsmen of a wide variety. It's a really, really cool, like very artistic community that you can walk along, and just beautiful. It's something that's very interesting. You don't see a lot of brick in Paris, and you'll see a lot here. And just in general, it makes for a nice stroll. The 12th gets slept on. Like, there isn't a ton going on in the 12th, but that's changing. And the things that are happening here are interesting and unique. We have a really interesting and unique place for dinner. So unique and interesting, in fact, that it was booked 2 months in advance and I wasn't able to get in, but that doesn't mean I'm not gonna show you, and maybe you should book now if you wanna give it a try. Thanks to today's patron producer, Kella Wren, one of my OG patrons who's been around, I think, for 7 years, for a long time, since into the Nanton days. Thank you so much to her and all my patrons for making this possible. Honestly, wouldn't be able to do this without you. Would not have made it to this point in my life or career without you. It really means a lot. So, if anybody gets a lot of benefit out of the videos that I make from Paris, you gotta thank my patrons, because they were there from the start. They made this all possible, so thank you. Well, I was gonna take you guys to a place called Ground Control, which is basically like it's like a food court, basically. It's a different version of Station F where you can go with your friends, grab whatever food you're looking for, beer. Usually a pretty fun vibe, and honestly, like, it's modular, so they move stuff around all the time. They have events all the time. It'd be nice, and Cooper really needs to get in the shade, and I could use a beer, but they don't allow dogs, and they also don't allow exceptions. And in fact, not only do they not allow exceptions, but now I have to write them for permission to go inside and film, so that's not gonna happen. I'm still gonna say it can be fun, but it's a long ways away, and you know what? Let's move on. Let's go get a beer somewhere random, and then we'll go to dinner. I found that crappy beer. Cheers. And a strong margarita and an Aperol Spritz and some friends. This is a little bit of a story since we're in the 12th, and granted there's a little bit less to do and see here. One of the cultural elements that you might run into if you ever want to be a content creator or just make your own stuff while you're here, the French mentality is very strange sometimes, where I walked up, and of course they have every right to say no. They don't have to let me in with my dog. They don't have to let me film, anything like that. But I will say that it has gotten a lot better than it used to be. It actually used to be really, really rough when I would go into places. I would get yelled at just for pulling my camera out 5 or 6 years ago. And that has gone away. It's no longer the case. People understand, hey, like, it's good for business to have people coming and promoting your stuff, whatever. But the funny thing is that is in the mentality still, is that thing where I was like, hey, like, I understand I can't come in with my dog, but like, would you mind making an exception? I'm just gonna come in long enough, have a drink, take a few shots, and tell people about your place. The first response was to go talk to the boss, the security boss, whoever in around. That guy had no idea what was going on either. So he radioed in and asked, like, hey, I've got a guy here who wants to make a video. He's got a dog. Can we just let him in? And the response was like, not only was it, no, we don't want to let him in with his dog, but 2, he's got to email us to ask for permission now before he can come in and film. Which, again, fair enough, but also like, why? Anyway, so here we are, having a drink at a nameless place down the street, just because, you know what? The joy of exploring in Paris is often just finding a random place to sit, have a cold drink with friends in the heat. Who cares if it's good? Who cares if it's a little bit overpriced? You're in Paris and you're having a good time. So cheers to that. I wish I spoke Japanese. Jinshen Shodoku is all the Japanese I speak. That's not entirely true, but I'm not going to continue on with that conversation. Really great spot that opened about a year ago. If you're looking for some donburi, the fried chicken is really good. It's a really fun environment that looks and feels, you know, I don't know, like a step outside of Paris for a minute. And I know we've already done one Japanese place along the way, but this is a place that I really love for a good rice bowl. And for a little extra, you can get soft-boiled, hard-boiled egg. I guess it's hard-boiled. I don't really know exactly. It looks kind of like it's one and the same on top You can see how much of an expert I am on the state of the boiledness of my eggs, but honestly, this place is delicious. It's really good, easy to get to. And it falls within that claim that I made earlier that you'll notice that a lot of the best places in the 12th are hugging the 11th. It's kind of that thing where it's partially because the train tracks are to the south of us, and it's partially because everybody's trying to jump over to the 11th, which you can see next week if you make sure to subscribe. See my video on the 11th, and of course you can get ahead by grabbing my guide at ParisInMyPocket.com and get all my recommendations for Paris right now. You don't have to wait for the next video to come out. It'll be great. Just like this is great. Wow. Make sure you stick around for the sexy underwear drinks because those are coming up very soon. Spoiler alert. Delicious. Also, did you notice that this is a new t-shirt? I've been filming over a couple days, and a little cheat, I brought the wrong shirt out today for the 12th arrondissement. So I literally had to buy this. If you knew that it was a different shirt, leave a comment below. At what point in the video did I get the new gray shirt and go from the old gray shirt? And if you didn't notice, go figure it out. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I don't know. You tell me. So I was gonna go to dinner at here in the Trembleu. The Trembleu is like a really fancy, beautiful restaurant that I've been to before a while back. They changed the kitchen, they changed the staff. Everything seemed to be quite the fun, delicious experience, and I'm not the only one to think so. I have a feeling that TikTok might be to blame for this. They're booked solid for 2 months. I tried to book them a month in advance, and it was still not far enough out in advance, so not in time for this series, unfortunately. But to drown our sorrows, and rather than eat like a fancy and very expensive dinner here that Cooper might not have been welcome to, I'm not even sure, we're gonna go drown our sorrows at a really fun bar just down the street that's named after your boxers. The Cal Bar. Garçon is boxers in French. If you want to come to a bar with handsome bartenders that'll make you a cocktail in their underwear, then you've come to the right place. Between the fun shirts and the crazy boxers, the cocktails come out on top, believe it or not. These are amazing. Everybody had a really good first reaction, including me. You put a lot of work into this, like a lot of work, and it shows. Smooth, creamy, delicious, gin-based with an egg white. I've lost track of everything that was in it. I memorized it, and you know, it doesn't matter, it's delicious. I'm not kidding, this is so good. If you find yourself in the 12th and you're in need of a good cocktail, there's probably no better place to come than the Cal Bar. It's a really fun neighborhood as well. It's really cute, quaint, like walk around, explore a little bit. Very pedestrian friendly, lots of greenery, nice buildings. Just a really chill environment to begin with, but this place, just fun. It's been here for a long time. It's been on my list for a long time. It's always worth coming back. Happy to do so. Very happy to do so after this experience. And yeah, highly recommended. What can I say? Hey, thanks for watching. If you are new here, make sure to subscribe if you want to see the rest of the arrondissements. We get into the 11th, which is across the street next week. One of my favorites, full of even more options, crazy amounts of options for food, drinks, and more. And thanks to all my patrons for making this possible. Thanks to you for watching. Thanks to the Cal Bar for making us some delicious drinks. And see you for the 11th very soon. But not so soon that I'm not going to finish this. This is good.